A strange sight in the sky last night over Oahu caught the attention of many people.
You can see the two bright lights, and then slowly a third light appears.
The full gist of it with my camera since it was so far away, but it was really, really good. I looked at my lanai and it was literally the first thing I saw.
As night fell over Rio, an unsettling sight unfolded in the sky. Two ghostly figures swirling in a strange dance, both frightening and fascinating those watching below. Meanwhile, in Mongolia's remote lands, a terrifying creature, part dragon and part dinosaur, appeared, shocking the locals. And on Shanghai's busy streets, a simple selfie revealed a chilling figure lurking nearby, a creature from another world. Are these strange happenings real? Join us as we explore these surreal occurrences, challenging the very fabric of reality and prompting us to reevaluate our understanding of the world. Sky mysteries, from dancing clouds to strange angel sightings. In the colorful and sometimes dreamlike world we live in, the skies over Rio de Janeiro became the backdrop for a scene straight out of a storybook. In June 2015, onlookers were treated to the unexpected sight of two figures that looked like people, dancing through the clouds. They moved with a grace that seemed to defy what we know about gravity and physics. Tourists, struck with a blend of shock and wonder, rushed to record this rare spectacle with their cameras. However, as quickly as they had made their entrance, these mysterious dancers disappeared, sparking a flood of guesses and whispered ideas among the crowds. Some wondered if these figures were celestial beings, sent from above for a purpose beyond our understanding. Others pondered whether this was just a clever trick, a well-thought-out prank meant to dazzle and confuse those watching from below. Similarly, the wide-open spaces of Mongolia became the scene for a peculiar sighting that seemed to pull from both ancient myths and the stories of prehistoric Earth. People there claimed to have seen a creature in the sky that didn't fit into any known category, a mix between a snake, a crocodile, and the fabled Chinese dragon. This report reignited old discussions and infused new energy into the tales surrounding the Chinese dragon, an emblem of strength and luck. Yet, some speculated, could this creature actually be a pterosaur? A survivor from an era dominated by gigantic beings? This blend of legendary narratives and prehistoric possibilities added a fascinating twist to the Mongolian encounter, making it hard to distinguish between established facts and the enigmas that still elude our grasp. Over in the bustling city of Shanghai, a simple act like taking a selfie became the stage for an event that would fit perfectly in a sci-fi movie. A couple reported that they had taken a photo with what looked like an alien creature flying in the background, strange and alien in appearance, reminding people of the Zergs from the video game StarCraft. These creatures are known for their fast breeding, group attacks, and ability to adapt quickly to any situation. This peculiar event in Shanghai opened up discussions that crossed the line between the imaginative stories of science fiction and the real world, pushing us to question the limits of what might exist in the lesser-known parts of our planet. In our everyday lives, where routine often reigns, the sky above us sometimes becomes the stage for events that challenge what we believe and ignite our sense of awe. Imagine this scene. In the calm skies above Nebraska, something incredibly unusual unfolds, captivating those who see it. A figure resembling a man appears to be climbing a staircase made of clouds. Those watching from below are split. Some feel they are witnessing a miracle, a moment of divine grace, while others are quick to brush it off as merely an optical illusion, a play of light and shadow. Then in South Carolina, the appearance of a cloud that strikingly resembles an angel sends one person into a deep spiritual state, convinced they have seen a message from the heavens. However, amidst the excitement and conviction, there are hushed voices asking, are these phenomena truly divine? Or could they have origins beyond our Earth? In Texas, the mystery deepens as a man shares footage of what he is convinced is an angel standing on the clouds, a sight so out of the ordinary, it challenges our definitions of what is real and what belongs to the realm of dreams or fiction. The story becomes even more touching when a young boy and his mother, flying in an airplane, manage to photograph what appears to be a guardian angel amidst stormy skies. This particular moment, rich with personal significance, serves as a powerful testament to the family's faith, connecting their beliefs firmly with the physical world they inhabit. Meanwhile, across the ocean in China, the skies participate in a similar display of wonder. Figures that bear a strong resemblance to angels make an appearance against the somber backdrop of a world grappling with the challenges of a pandemic. This spectacle unleashes a flood of interpretations, ranging from suggestions of government propaganda designed to lift the morale of the populace to unique weather phenomena. Despite the abundance of theories, the true nature of these skyward apparitions remains an enigma, comfortably situated on the boundary between what we understand to be possible and the mysteries that science has yet to explain. Through these stories, from Nebraska to China, we are reminded of the endless possibilities that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. At times, the sky above us shares stories that seem too strange to be real, preparing us for tales that make us think and dream. The Boise flying, a dinosaur was spotted. In September 2015, the quiet city of Boise, Idaho, found itself at the center of an extraordinary event that could have been lifted straight from a story where dinosaurs roam the earth again, but with a twist that seemed more at home in a science fiction novel. The people of Boise looked up to see something incredible, a creature that looked a lot like a pterosaur, an ancient animal believed to have been extinct for millions of years, flying gracefully through their skies. This remarkable sight set off a storm of guesses and excitement among those who saw it. People's imaginations went wild, dreaming up ideas that these ancient creatures had been hiding away in secret places on Earth, or perhaps they had learned to blend into their surroundings so well that we'd never noticed them before. This mysterious event left even scientists puzzled, as they couldn't find any solid proof that pterosaurs were still living among us. However, this didn't stop people from talking and thinking about the many secrets our world might still hold, mysteries that go beyond what we already know. The skies over Boise weren't just a backdrop for wild fantasies about dinosaurs from the past keeping an eye on us. They became a symbol of the fascinating idea that the ancient world could somehow merge with our modern one in ways we hardly dare to imagine. Fast forward to July 26, 2013, in Grand Falls, Canada, where the forces of nature seemed to try their hand at painting. A lucky combination of wind and clouds formed a huge face looking down from the sky, creating a sight so dreamlike it felt as if the heavens themselves were showing off their art. This incredible scene was shared far and wide online, leading to a wave of guesses about its origin. Was it a playful trick by some cosmic jester, or just a beautiful display of nature's talent for creating stunning, momentary visuals? This showed us how the sky can transform into a gallery, offering us breathtaking views that are as fleeting as they are beautiful. But it's not always about awe and beauty. For example, a rather scary scene unfolded over New York's skyline, making it look like something from a horror story. As night fell, numerous ghostly figures seemed to hover ominously over the Empire State Building. This chilling sight made people uneasy and led to the early closure of this famous landmark, as everyone braced for what felt like an impending disaster. Despite the fear and speculation, the dreaded disaster never came, and the city was left untouched by the doom that seemed to loom in the air, proving that even the most frightening visions in the sky can pass without leading to catastrophe. As 2019 was drawing to a close, an unusual video started making rounds on the internet, capturing an event that seemed like it had leaped out of a storybook rather than something you would see in real life. Uploaded on YouTube by an unknown person, the video showcased what looked like a horse running across the sky. This vision of a horse flying without any wings set off a storm of confused and excited chatter online. The fact that this horse didn't have wings was not just an odd detail. It seemed like a deliberate challenge to anyone watching, as if nature itself was trying its hand at weaving a mysterious tale. Then the video took an even more fantastical turn as the clouds changed shape to outline a figure that looked human, turning the sky into a stage for a story that seemed to blend myth with reality. This raised a thrilling question. Were viewers being treated to a glimpse of a mythical horse taking to the skies? Or was this some angelic being defying the everyday rules of our physical world? In another unexpected turn of events, this time in Glasgow, Scotland, two tourists stumbled upon a scene that could have been lifted from a science fiction film. They encountered what seemed to be a person flying through the air. At first, they thought it might be something ordinary, like a weather balloon. But it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary object. It didn't look like any balloon they'd ever seen. Peering through binoculars, they were able to make out what looked like a human figure, complete with a head, arms, and legs floating in the sky. This unusual sight sparked discussions about whether they had witnessed a miracle, with some people even suggesting it might be a sign of a biblical prophecy coming true. However, the video footage they captured was too blurry to confirm anything for sure, leaving more questions than answers. Then, over in Chile, beachgoers found themselves facing an enigma of their own. A gigantic figure appeared over the sea, mysterious and unfathomable. This event, even more than the others, teetered on the edge between being truly awe-inspiring and feeling like it might just be too good to be true. It sparked a heated debate, with some suggesting it was a divine sign, perhaps even heralding the return of Jesus Christ, while others called for a more down-to-earth explanation. Experts in weather phenomena pointed to a natural explanation, proposing that it might have been a waterspout on the verge of turning into a tornado, which ultimately didn't touch down on land. Sometimes the sky gives us a show that's hard to believe, like it's telling its own wild story. Sky entertainment, from dragons to buildings on the clouds. During the hot August of 2018, the sky above Kumamoto, Japan, turned into the scene for a mysterious event that could easily belong in a book full of conspiracy theories. Imagine someone flying in a plane way above the Earth at over 35,000 feet, looking out their window and seeing something so strange, it feels like a moment from an incredible movie. They managed to take a photo of something huge, looking a lot like a giant building, just hanging there in the air among the clouds. People everywhere, from those who know a lot about these things to those who just like to guess, all started trying to figure out what it could be. The first idea was volcanic ash, but that didn't make sense because there hadn't been any volcanic eruptions nearby. This huge thing in the sky, just floating there without moving or showing any signs of being smoke or debris from a volcano, really made everyone think. It wasn't like any joke anyone had seen before, and with no real explanation, people all over the world started talking and wondering about the strange things that can happen up in the sky that we don't know about. Then in Singapore, something even more unbelievable happened. During a calm family picnic out of nowhere, it seemed like a massive dragon appeared in the sky, close to a thunderstorm that was starting. Dragons, which most people only read about in stories or see in movies, seemed to have come into the real world, causing a lot of excitement and confusion. People first thought it might be some kind of trick for advertising, maybe something to do with the famous Game of Thrones dragons. But that idea was quickly proven wrong, and everyone was left wondering how a dragon could really be flying in our skies today. Just like the mysterious building-like figure in Japan, the dragon became a big puzzle that no one could solve. It was hard for people to believe that dragons could really exist outside of stories and games. Even though people tried hard to find out where the dragon came from, just like with the floating skyscraper, no one could figure it out. Sometimes, our world likes to throw in a twist that seems more like fantasy than reality, making it hard to tell where the line between the ordinary and the downright spooky lies. Picture a cold day in Slovakia back in January 2012, when something not so ordinary happened. The sky, which is usually just there, not doing much, turned into a scene straight out of a scary movie. A face, the kind you'd expect to see in a horror story, appeared right there among the clouds. To make things creepier, there were strange sounds too, like the kind of music you hear in a thriller movie, making everyone feel a bit on edge. This scared the people living there so much that they didn't stick around to see what would happen next. They jumped into their cars and left, worried about what this sign could mean. This happened at a time when people were already feeling anxious, with lots of talk about big changes coming, which made the whole thing feel even more like a warning from the sky. Jumping ahead to September 2021, we saw something that seemed like it came straight out of a superhero movie. High up in the air from the comfort of an airplane seat, passengers saw a huge object floating in the sky, looking a lot like the kind of thing you'd see in a movie about superheroes. It defied all the rules, just hanging there below the plane, grabbing everyone's attention until suddenly it wasn't there anymore. It disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, leaving everyone wondering if what they saw was real or just their imagination playing tricks on them. Then over in Western Australia, the sky put on a show that could have been lifted from a sci-fi story. In the middle of a lightning storm, someone noticed something unusual. A cloud that was green and didn't look like it should be there. This strange sight made people come up with all kinds of guesses, from secret experiments to control the weather to visits from aliens checking out our planet. Stories like these make the sky seem like a stage where all sorts of strange and mysterious things can happen, far beyond the usual clouds and birds we're used to. All these stories add to the collection of weird things that have happened up above us, making the sky seem like a place where anything is possible. Even though these tales can spark our imagination and make us wonder, it's also wise to look at them with a bit of doubt, knowing that not everything we see or hear can be taken at face value. Every now and then, something strange lights up our normal life, taking us on a journey full of mysteries. The Royston incident, explained in the peaceful setting of Royston, Hertfordshire, a family's normal camping trip took a turn towards the mysterious, lighting up the night with an event straight out of a science fiction movie. The quiet of the evening broke when a strange object appeared in the sky, glowing brightly like a flashlight shining in the darkness. This wasn't just any usual sight in the sky. The object had a tail like a comet, but moved in ways that didn't make sense according to the rules of nature we know. The family, filled with both amazement and confusion, watched what looked like a carefully choreographed dance in the sky, too deliberate to be just a coincidence. However, just as quickly as it had shown up, the object disappeared, melting away into the darkness of the night, leaving everyone with more questions than answers. As news of this strange sight spread across Royston, it sparked a whirlwind of guesses and doubts. Some people, maybe thinking more practically, dismissed it as just a trick of light, or perhaps a stunt plane equipped with special effects to create a dramatic scene. But those who actually saw it happen insisted it was something beyond human creation, making even the most skeptical people think twice. The discussion around what happened grew bigger, turning into a sort of public debate about paranormal activity, where different opinions collided and the mystery just grew thicker. This unusual event in Royston became more than just a local talking point. It turned into a captivating mystery, like a puzzle missing some pieces, forcing people to use their imagination to try and fill in the gaps. Was this a quick visit from beings from another part of the universe, or just an earthbound event cloaked in an air of mystery? Without any solid proof, it was hard to say for sure what had happened, leaving people swinging between doubt and belief. On March 15, 2021, the internet added yet another strange tale to its collection of wonders and oddities. That day, people scrolling through Facebook came across a video that stopped them in their tracks. A huge duck, glowing as if lit from within, soaring through the sky. This wasn't just any duck. It had a mysterious light in its eyes that seemed to pierce through the clouds, captivating over 75,000 people who couldn't look away. The mix of fear and fascination was intense, with everyone throwing in their 2 cents, trying to crack the case of this supernatural sighting. But then the truth came out, solving the puzzle. The duck was actually created by someone named McClone, a talented individual who mixed design and programming to create this illusion, proving it was all just a trick of digital magic, not a visit from another realm. This revelation was a real eye-opener about how thin the line is between what we see on our screens and what exists in reality. It highlighted just how powerful and creative people can be with technology, making us believe in the impossible. Those who were initially drawn in by the mystery of the glowing-eyed duck ended up being impressed by the skill it took to create such a believable illusion. It showed us how much our world has changed, living in a time when distinguishing between what's real and what's made up is more challenging and exciting than ever. But the story doesn't end with the digital trickery of a luminescent duck. Over in Oxborough, United Kingdom, another odd event captured people's attention, this time involving something you'd usually find under the sea, not above it. In November 2020, someone out for a simple walk in the morning sky spotted a jellyfish floating in the air. Yes, a jellyfish, right there in the sky, looking as serene and out of place as you can imagine. This flying jellyfish didn't stick around for long. By the time the afternoon rolled around, it had disappeared, leaving everyone scratching their heads and wondering what they had just seen. At first, people thought maybe it was a kite that somehow looked like a jellyfish. But a closer look made it clear this wasn't something so easily explained away. Driven by a need to know more, the person who saw it shared their experience online, sparking a frenzy of guesses and theories. Despite everyone trying their best to figure it out, the origin and nature of the sky jellyfish remained a mystery. These 2 stories, one of a digitally created duck and the other of a jellyfish hanging out in the sky, highlight the weird and wonderful world we live in. Sometimes the night surprises us with lights that make us question what's really out there. The shocking Florida light mystery. One night in Florida, something amazing happened that changed an ordinary evening into an incredible experience, making everyone look up in wonder. People started guessing what it could be right away. Some thought it was something simple, like a piece of burning debris, or maybe a meteorite falling from the sky. But then others thought they saw something more incredible, like the glowing path of a UFO cutting through the darkness. Suddenly, the sky was filled with a burst of lights that moved quickly, showing off a variety of colors that made everyone watching feel a mix of excitement and a little bit of fear. It looked to some like a spaceship from another planet had just swung open its doors, letting out a flood of bright alien light down on Earth. This amazing sight got everyone talking and guessing, with ideas ranging from it being a new SpaceX space mission to secret military activities, and some even thought it might be a sign of aliens about to visit. Despite all the talking and guessing, no one could figure out exactly where this light show came from. The night kept it secret, leaving both the people who saw it and experts who tried to explain it puzzled. The sky became like a big mystery story, making people dream up all sorts of scary and exciting ideas about what it could be. In a completely different story, a pilot flying alone saw something strange that didn't seem to follow the normal rules of nature. It looked like pieces of a crash hanging in the air, not falling down. The pilot, driven by curiosity and a need to know more, tried to get close to this floating mystery to figure out what it was. But the closer they got, the more mysterious it became, not giving away any of its secrets. As the plane started to run low on fuel and the need to find out what this was became more urgent, they called air traffic control to report this weird sight. But then, in an unexpected twist, the floating wreckage just disappeared, as if it had never been there, leaving everyone who heard about it shocked and full of questions. This sudden vanishing act made people wonder even more, leading some to think that maybe they had seen something from another world, not just an ordinary piece of debris. This strange disappearance only added to the stories of odd things happening in the sky, making people think and talk about the possibility of otherworldly technologies or visitors from space. On a chilly evening in Russia, January 6, 2024, the sky put on a repeat performance of an unusual event that had previously amazed people in Florida. This time, the night was illuminated not by one, but two incredible light shows. The first one looked a lot like a rocket shooting up into space, moving quickly and purposefully, turning the night into a display of cosmic wonder. Those watching were left in awe, trying to figure out what exactly they were seeing and where it might be heading. Going back to China in 2015, something equally strange happened. A video showed up online showing what seemed to be a city floating in the sky, a sight so out of this world it made people think of other dimensions, or maybe just a clever trick. But then, people who know a lot about the weather explained it was actually a Fata Morgana, a very rare kind of mirage. This happens when the weather makes the air form layers with different thicknesses, and then light bends when it passes through these layers, making us see things in places they aren't. This incident was a clear example of how the natural world can play tricks on our senses, making us see things that aren't really there. Jumping ahead to January 2017, social media was buzzing again with another strange sight, a video that showed what looked like a huge hole opening up in the sky, as if a door to another world had suddenly appeared. This strange scene made people feel a mix of wonder and a bit of worry. Even though it looked like something from a science fiction story, there was no actual proof of anything coming in or going out of this hole in the sky. The video made people think and guess about the possibility of visitors from other planets or dimensions. After New Year's, California's sky turned into a light show that made regular clouds seem dull. California's clouds stand out among the rest. After the New Year's celebrations in 2019, the skies above California were the backdrop for a very unusual sight that made regular clouds seem boring in comparison. This cloud wasn't just a normal cloud. It was filled with so many colors it looked like a colorful oil spill had occurred in the sky. People watching from below were totally captivated by this bright and colorful cloud, which felt more like something out of a modern art piece than something you'd expect to see in the weather. The light from the cloud seemed to come from inside it, not just from the sun reflecting off it, which made people come up with all kinds of wild guesses about what it could be. Some thought it might be a sign of aliens trying to communicate through a disco in the sky, while others thought it might be a man-made object, like a drone or a kite with fancy lights. But then the cloud started moving in ways that really made people think. It wasn't just drifting, it was dancing through the sky, with the colors changing and moving like it was alive. This made the cloud even more mysterious and got people wondering even more if this was really something from our world or something from beyond. Moving to a spookier scene, there's a story about someone who was out exploring when they ran into a shadowy figure that was straight out of a ghost story. This eerie figure showed up out of nowhere, making the air around it feel cold and scary. Even weirder, when they tried to record it, the camera suddenly stopped working, as if the figure didn't want to be captured on film. This kind of encounter makes people wonder if there's more to the world than what we can easily explain, leaving them feeling both scared and curious. Over in Turkey in the western Bursa province, people saw something in the sky that was just as unsettling. A cloud changed shape to look like the evil eye of a demon, changing colors as the sun came up. It turned from red to pink to orange and then white, looking more sinister with each color change. Even though weather experts tried to explain it as just a rare kind of cloud, the eerie sight made some people worry it was a bad omen, showing how quick we are to look for signs and warnings in what we see around us. In a completely different kind of story, an astronomer saw something amazing, a bird flying right in front of the sun without getting hurt. This shouldn't be possible according to what we know about science, which made everyone who heard about it start to wonder if sometimes the impossible can happen right before our eyes. Together, these stories, from the colorful cloud in California to the creepy dawn in Turkey, show how varied our experiences with the natural world can be. They're a mix of beautiful, mysterious, and sometimes scary moments that keep us wondering and guessing about what's really possible and what mysteries lie just beyond what we can see and understand. Ever seen weird stuff in the sky? Tell us in the comments. If you like these strange sky stories, please hit like and subscribe for more cool mysteries like these.